Interesting facts about Egypt. Ancient Egyptians were the first to invent toothpaste.
I
The
hadn't heard
Egyptian
this.
pyramids were built by workers, not slaves. The
That is so true. I get a lot of comments on my Egypt pyramid videos being like, yeah, but they were built by slaves, so they should get knocked down. And I'm like, no, they weren't. That's a Bible story, and it's a story. They found evidence that whoever was working on the Giza plateau were paid to do it. They were paid with like beer and meat and things, and it wasn't slaves. There's no evidence in the historical record for slaves, so we can just end that now. Burn the old textbooks. I think it even used to be in a textbook. Like, that's how bad it was. Rejig that. Not true, false. Moving on.
pyramids also align with the stars. They made the first peace treaty. The oldest dress in the world was found in Egypt.
If you would have asked me a month ago if Cleopatra was an Egyptian, I would have said yes.
She's
but
Greek.
Miss Girl is not. And it all goes back to Alexander the Great. Whenever Mr. the Great was on his deathbed, his generals asked him, Alex, who are you going to give the largest, most wealthy, most powerful empire the world has ever seen to? And Alexander said, to the
That
strongest.
is so cool. Sometimes I have thought about what my final words would be, and that has got to take the ticket for being one of the coolest things. To the strongest, and then just die.
And died, because that was really helpful. So after a few years of his generals tussling, the empire was split up into 3 different kingdoms. And we're going to focus on the Ptolemaic kingdom, because that's the one that took essentially all of Egypt. Ptolemy I was now the pharaoh of Egypt, and he was a Macedonian Greek and a general to Alexander. Ptolemy told the religious institutions of Egypt, listen, I don't know what I'm doing.
She's totally on about this. I didn't realize that, yeah, Alexander the Great, he was given the role of pharaoh, even though he wasn't like a pharaoh. He wasn't Egyptian. He was like given the role. That's pretty cool. I mean, that's a job description. Imagine just being given the role of a pharaoh. I'm like, I don't really know what I was doing. Like, this wasn't really in the job description. Just keep doing what you're doing. That guy was the definition of fake it till you make it.
So how about you guys just continue running Egypt the exact same, and I'll just be pharaoh and you can pay me. So that exact blueprint continued on for the next 250 years while the Ptolemaic family ruled Egypt. The Ptolemaic Greeks only lived in Alexandria the entire time while being the pharaohs of Egypt. So only Greeks were allowed in Alexandria, only Greek was spoken, and all of the business was Greek culture. The only practice that the Ptolemaic Greeks really took on that was Egyptian was Egyptian marital practice, i.e. brothers marrying sisters. So you just have this giant line of Ptolemaic Greek marrying Ptolemaic Greek within the family.
I've never been to
until
Alexandria,
eventually
but it's on my
Cleopatra
list.
came out. And when you think about it, Cleopatra is like the most Greek sounding name ever, and that's because it is. According to the historian Plutarch, she was the first pharaoh to even bother learning Egyptian. She dressed Egyptian, and she really did try to be a good Egyptian pharaoh, contrary to, her entire family.
Good on you, Cleo.
And her dedication to the role of pharaoh shows due to the longevity that the Ptolemaic Egyptians had whenever Rome was conquering everyone else surrounding them. The other empires of Alexander the Great were already long conquered by the Romans, and Egypt was still thriving due to Cleopatra, due to her largely just seducing the Roman emperors. Girl boss. But eventually, Octavius, the Roman emperor, rolled around, and he could not be seduced by Cleopatra, so she killed herself. This entire once Macedonian Greek map was now under Roman occupation, including the Ptolemaic kingdom. But Miss Girl really put up a fight. Anyway, this is what I think is the most historically accurate photo of Cleopatra, being Macedonian Greek with, a hint of other things.
And do you know who's going to be playing her? Because I was wondering, why is there not like a major movie, a recent major movie about the whole Cleopatra thing? Because it's just so Hollywood. There's going to be a movie, and guess who's playing Cleopatra? Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman herself. So I'm really excited to see that and just see how they do that movie.